All right, good morning, everyone. I'd like to call this House Appropriations Subcommittee on Corrections to order and welcome everyone here, colleagues and attendants. Madam Clerk, will you please take attendance?
Chair O'Neill.
Present.
Representatives McKinney.
Here.
Morse.
Here.
Snyder.
Here.
Slaw.
Present.
Bolin.
Here.
Leitner. Here. Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's see. Representative Snyder moves to approve the minutes from the subcommittee meeting held March 7, 2024. Hearing no objections, the minutes are adopted. All right. Well, thank you all for being here again. I'd just like to just give a brief overview of our bill content and thank my colleagues for just your involvement and your voices in this process. As you know, this is a project that we have to plan out in advance. Corrections being a $2 billion budget, there are a lot of moving parts, and we've been trying to be proactive in terms of addressing some issues relative to preparing our prisoners for reentry. And as we go through this overview, you'll see some of those activities. So with that being said, we'll get started. The total budget for our corrections is $2,165.8 million gross and $2,115.5 million general fund. The budget is $79.6 million gross, $86.86 million general fund over the current year's appropriated levels. And the budget is $21.5 million over the executive recommendations. There are some major changes to the current year's budget recommended by the governor and included in the House substitute. And those are $16.2 million to cover increased costs of prisoners' health care services contracts, $10.4 million to cover increased costs of contractual nursing staff. We're using $3.4 million in state restricted programs and special equipment funds and reinvesting $483,600 of that general fund dollars to support. What's wrong? Oh, I saw you doing sign language. You got distracted me here.
Sorry.
We're using $3.4 million in state restricted program and special equipment funds and reinvesting $483,600 of those general funds to support costs of expanding educational programming and vocational training at the Thumb Correctional Facility. We're reinvesting $1.5 million to support peer-led reentry services for eligible parolees. We also are reinvesting $900,000 for the department to expand in-reach parole planning services for more parolees. There are some major changes added to the House substitute, and they include an additional $2 million in one-time GF and GP funding for peer-led reentry services initiatives, an additional $2 million in one-time GP for the expansion of in-reach parole planning service initiatives, $1 million in one-time GF for the department to expand their work with universities to provide prisoners the opportunities to participate in a bachelor's program in the institutions. And two other major initiatives included in the substitute are $16.5 million in one-time general fund for implementation costs associated with House Bills 4665, 4666, and 4667 that would authorize certain employees currently in the defined contribution plan to become members of the State Police Retirement System Hybrid Pension Plan instead. In the boilerplate sections 805, directing the department to repurpose $12 million of unexpended work project account balance funds for up to $1,500 signing bonuses for new corrections officers, and up to $1,500 retention bonuses for corrections officers currently employed by the department. As for the boilerplate, we restore most of the reporting requirements that were deleted in the executive recommendation, and we include several new boilerplate sections that we would like to highlight. First, in Section 309, we require the department to provide crisis intervention training to staff. In Section 320, we also include a $5 rate increase for each per diem rate specified for the county jail reimbursement program. In Section 326, we require the department to report on contraband prevention efforts, including all expenditures made for the contraband prevention efforts, in the amount, the type, and the source of contraband prevented by the facility. In Section 405, we concur with the executive on providing residential service providers a $200 reimbursement for intake assessment that they conduct. But we also increase the per diem reimbursement rate by $2 more than the governor's recommendation to $70 per offender. In Section 314, 321, and 419, we include language that requires the department to complete and submit reports required by those sections in order for them to receive the funds amount of funding as appropriated. In Section 602, 717, we also require the department to provide more information to prisoners and their families on the purpose and the importance of signing medical release of information forms. In Section 607, we require the department to explore all opportunities for increasing the availability and usage of long-term acting injectables for prisoners who receive medical assistant treatment for substance abuse disorders. In Section 609, we require the department to work with nursing staff collective bargaining representatives, and nursing organizations to develop strategies to attract and retain nursing staff. Section 608, we require the department to screen prisoners more often for PTSD and substance abuse disorders and treat the disorders when they are diagnosed. In Section 705, we request more information on drug overdoses and suspected drug overdoses occurring in the facilities. We also want to know more about the results of autopsies and investigations that are conducted when prisoners die unexpectedly. And finally, in Section 718, we require the department to pursue all opportunities to reduce costs for prisoners and their families for financial deposits and commissary fees and co-pays for health care. Those are just some general overviews of our budget. And we really thank all of our members for their support and their activities in getting to this point. And with that, Madam Clerk and colleagues, we will open up for questions. Rep. Bolden.
Thank you, Rep. O'Neill, and thank you so much to the staff that worked so hard to pull all this stuff together. I have a question in relation to, one is, what is the total amount of money currently sitting in work projects? And then two, how much of that work project money is in this budget for the two things? I think I saw it for the retention and recruitment bonuses, but I wondered if any of that is going into the conversion, if we're pulling of any of that money into the conversion of the pension.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In response to your question, first of all, the last I knew, roughly last week, around 246 million sitting in work project balances. And within this House Subcommittee Chair's recommendation, 12 million is, the proposal is to repurpose 12 million of that for the bonuses. There is not there's general fund for the retirement.
Thank you. Is that, and no other money coming from the work project for any?
Minority Vice Chair Slow.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm on page 2 of the summary. number 4 and number 5 of both of those, I've really got the same question about both of them. Is there? It appears like we're doing this newer service, peer-led reentry services or the InReach services, and we're setting out dollars, but now we're going to add $2 million to both of those line items. And I fully agree that we need to start the process of trying to do peer-led reentry services and the InReach. I think that makes really good sense. I'm just concerned about adding money to it when it's a brand new program and we haven't really got it off the ground. And so I was just wondering if you had some thoughts about that, or if the department did, that we could just talk about that a minute.
Sure. Well, I'll start out. As you know, peer-led reentry services are been proven to be very effective. I know we have some major programs that have been around for a while, and you know, no better teacher than the person who's been through those experiences. So we felt, in working with the department and some of the stuff they've done prior to us even getting to this point in terms of providing access to education, providing access to skilled trade programs like we're doing in Thumb Correction, expanding that. You know, it's like we're investing later, unfortunately, Minority Chair. And so I think it's very important that 80% of the folks that are coming home are better prepared. And so we want to maintain an open door policy in terms of those programs that are out there that we haven't even talked to, or they may be waiting for an opportunity to provide some services. We just had a program in my region just kind of kick off a program with the Saginaw Correctional Facility. Outstanding support, and these are just average folks that are been in that space. So I think for us, as we move forward, we have to plan ahead. You know, it's best that we prepare people to come home prepared than just sitting there idle and, you know, coming back to get back in the same rut that they were in that got them there. So I think it's just an investment, Minority Vice Chair, that we have to do in terms of making sure when folks return home, they return home in a safe mindset. That's the main thing. Okay. It's all in the mindset, you know, and so that was my intention for making sure resources were available in those spaces.
Okay.
So,
good.
Thank you.
I've got other questions.
Okay.
And you can go get back to me later, please.
Sure. Any other questions? Rep. Morris.
Thanks, Chair. I just want to make a comment because we also saw in my budget, the Department of Health and Human Services, $30 million towards the federal waiver that will allow us to provide Medicaid health care 90 days before reentry. And what I think is just really critical for us to think about is we've gone really since the beginning of time without respecting the fact that people who have served their time and are getting out deserve a chance at a quality of life. And we are just now in the last few years recognizing that and investing in it and doing what we can to make sure we don't continue to punish them after they've served the time they've been ordered to serve. So I thank you for continuing to invest in reentry programs. I think it's critical for the state. And the fact is, we have a worker shortage, right? There's plenty of people coming out of prison who really deserve a shot at a great career after that. So I'm really happy to see these investments we're making. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And to that note, you're right. We have 33, close to 33,000, I believe, from last report of incarcerated individuals, and a high percentage of those individuals are coming out. Now think about if we had half of those individuals into our state system, that would help mitigate some of the problems we're dealing with. So, you know, that's why the investment, and thank you for reaffirming the fact how important the investments are to make sure these individuals, when they get out, they have some gainful skills that they can reintegrate back into the families, back into society, you know, taxpayers, get back on track. It helps us all, you know, and so there's no get out of jail free card that we're doing. You know, it's just the fact that we have to make these investments now. You know, it would have been very nice if we would have invested years and years ago, and you know, education, opportunities, et cetera. You know, they don't have to go down that road, but you know, we're here now, and so we have to be stewards of the state dollars. These are taxpayer dollars These aren't corporations. These are taxpayer dollars. And so I think all of us share those sentiments that we want to be responsible and make sure that when folks leave those institutions, and I tell you, I think I've been to, Kyle, you can help me with this, out of 26 facilities, I've been to either 14, 15, 17, okay, just to, and I'm sure many of you have as well, but in those visits, and you've been there, I've, just had the opportunity to talk and hear from folks, the prisoners and as well as staff. And, one thing I've heard is in terms of opportunities, it's necessary, even from the COs, in terms of longevity. These individuals are connected to families as well. So, I say, well, they're in the institution, they're like prisoners too, in a sense. And I don't say that, lightly, but they're there 18, 20, they're long shifts. And so when you have that situation, and that's why we're supporting good wages and retirement and pensions, because when these folks get in that system, they're sort of pulled from the sheriff department, Michigan State Police, and so we lose. And so we are 1,000 plus in a deficit right now. So that makes it hard for everybody. It's not safe. We've had an uptick of episodes with, prisoner staff relations in terms of volatile situations. And so all of those factors play into the environment. And so we have to really think that through and invest wisely as we can. So, questions? Go ahead, sir.
You're on a roll in answering my question, so I think I'm just going to keep asking them. You just touched, Chair O'Neill, on the employee retirement system changes, and those bills haven't gone through, are still really in the early stages of that, and I'm wondering, should we be putting the dollars out if we haven't got the bills approved to do it? So that was just a question for you about process. Do we put the horse in front of the cart or in back of the cart to push it? That kind of a thing. So maybe just have a chance to talk into that. I don't know.
Yeah. Thank you, Minority Chair. Again, as a committee, what message do we want to send to our rank and file that are doing the hard work every day? And the number one priority inhibiting factor is salaries and that pension, right? We know that. That's been a deterrent for retaining good talent, right? That's it. And so I think for us, it sends a strong message that we see that as important as a committee, and we just we believe that our Senate colleagues will see the same, because this has been an ongoing conversation. And so for us as a House committee, we want them to know that we hear them, and we are concerned, and we want to make sure that we're talking about retaining talent. If folks are, making a decision to take care of their family, they're going to do that. And if that means leaving the state, then they'll do that as well. So if they have good pay, good salaries, rainbow at the end of the tunnel in terms of the retirement package, then that's a mechanism that folks will sort of, put their stakes in the ground and stay put, if you will. So I think that's important. I think it's long overdue. And, I think we do a lot of talking a lot of times. And so this is an action statement that we hear you, we believe it, this is important in terms of our recruitment and retention, and also supporting them as family members. A lot of times law enforcement and corrections, that's a real tough environment, as you know. And so, you have high cases of domestic violence, high cases of alcoholism, and all those things that erode families. So holistically thinking that way, how can we sort of enshrine and support that structure by supporting the pay wage equity and the opportunity for them to, if they work 25, 30 years, then there should be something for them at the end of the tunnel. So it's just basic, it's basic stuff. So that's my rationale.
Good.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
All right.
I I still have more if you got time.
Well, let's bring the questions on and get them out the way.
So, a question for you on page 4 of the summary on section 222. I see that we're deleting that, and it's related to
22.
section 222 on page 4.
Yeah, severance.
Yeah, the severance thing. For me, it's just a question about, in today's society where we've got lots of conversations about transparency and about what's going on, dollars and cents, and where we headed with things, to say that we're going to get rid of the reason for people to tell us about who are being paid to leave out of our departments just seems to be a bit of a question, I guess. So, and maybe we don't want to talk about it right now, but it's a concern I have, is because it looks like we're trying to avoid transparency in this particular case because we're getting rid of an opportunity for people to talk.
Well, we all just did disclosures, So that's representatives, we
Right, but this is about a department.
understand, but I'm saying in general, we can talk. I mean, it's not something that we felt was necessary. Okay, we concur with the executive on that, and so I would hope if there's some further discussion we can have on that. We're still in the whole process. We got a long way to go,
Yeah.
right? So, but
So I got another one if you're ready.
sure.
Okay, so this one is on page 5, section 320. I'm interested in putting in an amendment, but I thought now in the question period might be my amendment would be that we would move to a place where we're at a point where we're at $20 per day total additional for each of the tiers. We haven't had an increase. The last time they were updated, these county jail increases, the last time that was updated was 8 years ago. It seems like that maybe we ought to be going further than even the $5 that we've got. So I'd love to have us think about that as we get further on. So just letting you know that I've got and I don't need an answer right now. I'm just saying that's one of the things I'd love for us to continue to wrestle with.
Okay, I appreciate that.
And then page 6. Let's see, page 6, section 405. And we're trying to give an update to that as well, putting that at the same rate. We may want to look at making both of those, the one that we were just talking about and this one, consistent. But these folks have at least had some updates before in their rates. So I think for sure we need to make sure that the county jails are updated as we go. And then, let's see, page 9 and section 803. Just, once again, we're back to that, what are the bills? And so we've already talked about that. I just wanted you to know that was just a piece of what was going on.
Yeah,
And those are all of my questions, so thank you.
thank you.
For entertaining.
Minority Vice Chair, thank you. No problem. Any other? Jordan? Okay. Rep. Bowler? Yes.
Thank you so much. I have a question on that 405, and that is, have we always reimbursed for the initial client assessment, or is that new?
That's new.
So that's new, and so do we know on average how many intake assessments are? Like what it might total in a year?
I don't know.
Kyle?
Thousands. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a key component of folks going to the sites. We have about 800 beds available to us statewide, and folks are going to be there anywhere from 60 to 150 days. So those beds will turn over a few times each year.
Okay, but each time the intake is done, it would be $200, right? Is that
Yes, go ahead.
correct? Yeah. All right, and then, and so like there's this conversation, and I'm a little bit newer to this and just trying to understand it. Is this reimbursement rate for the jails, but now I think what's being proposed is they would get this $200 intake fee.
Kyle?
and plus this $5, like, I don't know what the difference is between what maybe Rep. Slaw is suggesting that it should be up to 10. I mean, in reality, they're getting $200 per intake plus a $5 or
No, can you address that?
something.
Yeah, maybe just to clarify, there are kind of two separate programs that are being talked about here. So the county jail reimbursement program has 3 tiers of reimbursement. The recommendation from the House appears to be to increase each of those tiers, but there's not an initial assessment fee in that program. It's just the same each
Different
day.
program.
The county, probation residential services or community residential services, it kind of goes by both names, is for the placement of probationers in a non-incarceration community setting for treatment or programming. That's the one that would now have a $200 initial assessment as well as a per diem after that. The executive recommended a $3 per diem increase. The House, it appears, has recommended a $5 per diem increase.
Plus a $200
Plus the
intake.
$200, which the executive, to be clear, the executive suggested the $200 as well. That's not a point of difference.
Okay, thank you.
Good questions. Good. All right. Okay. Seeing we've moved through the question phase, with that, Representative McKinney moves to adopt H1 substitute for House Bill 5508 for the fiscal year 2025 appropriations bill for the Department of Corrections. Will the clerk please call the roll?
On the motion to adopt the H1 substitute for House Bill 5508, Chair O'Neill.
Yes.
Representatives McKinney,
Yes.
Morse.
Yes.
Snyder,
Yes.
Slaw,
Yes.
Bolin,
Yes.
Lightner.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 7 yea votes. The motion prevails.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. At this time, I'd like to ask, are there any amendments? Do we have any amendments? Okay. Rep. Bolin?
I'm on first, I guess.
Rep. Minorities, Rep.
To allow
Slaw?
me?
Go ahead, sir.
So my first amendment would be to amend the boilerplate section 302 to require $21,065,000 of previous work project designations to cover the cost of allowing correction officers to move to the highest level of pay within 3 years. And with that, I move that amendment.
All right. See the amendments move. We call for a vote.
On the motion to adopt amendment number 1 to the H1 substitute for House Bill 5508, Chair O'Neill.
Pass.
Representatives McKinney,
Pass.
Representative Morse.
Yes.
Representative Snyder.
Pass.
Representative Slaw.
Yes.
Representative Bolin.
Yes.
Representative Lightner.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 4 passes, 3 yeses. The motion fails.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Are there any other amendments?
Yes.
Rep. Slaw.
So this amendment would be to add reporting requirements for the Correction Officers Training Academy to include the effect that it's had on staffing levels, including the ability for the department to attract new candidates. And with that, I move my amendment.
All right. Madam Clerk, call for a vote.
On the motion to adopt amendment number 2 to the H1 substitute for House Bill 5508, Chair O'Neill.
Yes.
Representatives McKinney,
Yes.
Morse,
Yes.
Snyder,
Yes.
Slaw,
Yes.
Bolin,
Yes.
Lightner.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 7 yes votes. The motion prevails.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Are there any additional amendments? Okay. Rep. Lightner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My original amendment would provide for an additional increase to the county jail reimbursement program. However, with additional conversations that it sounds like we're going to be having in regards to that, I will withdraw that amendment.
Thank you, Rep. You have another one? Is that this?
I do.
Second? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This amendment is in regards to a $2 million appropriation for the Public Safety Initiative, which is given to one community in the state for their normal day-to-day operations. So only one in the state. And with that, my amendment moves to remove that line item. I move my amendment.
All right, Madam Clerk, call for a vote.
On the motion to adopt amendment number 4 to the H1 substitute for House Bill 5508, Representative O'Neill?
No.
McKinney?
No.
Morse? No. Snyder?
No.
Slaw?
Yes.
Olin?
Yes.
Lightner?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 4 noes, 3 yeses, the motion fails.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Are there any other amendments? Seeing none. Rep. Morris moves to report H1 substitute House Bill 5508 as amended out of House Subcommittee and refer it to the House Standing Committee on Appropriations for recommendations to pass. Madam Clerk.
On the motion to refer the H1 substitute for House Bill number 5508 to the Committee on Appropriations with recommendation that it pass, Chair O'Neill.
Yes.
Representatives McKinney?
Yes.
Morse?
Yes.
Snyder?
Yes.
Slaw?
Pass.
Olin?
Yes.
Lightner?
Pass.
Mr. Chair, you have 4 yes votes, 3 passes, the motion prevails.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Well, that concludes our committee. I'd like to thank staff, first of all. I tell you, if I had Oscars, I would give them out to our staff. I tell you, they've been outstanding, and really appreciate all the work and time commitment involved. Also like to thank the department for working in concert with us, providing additional information, also our ombudsman office as well, and all of you for your time and your commitment to making amends for our correctional prisoners, inmates, providing good quality service for those individuals. And with that, we adjourn this committee.